What's up, my fellow excuse makers, or I should say, my personal growth warriors? Welcome back to another episode of It's Not Me, It's You, breaking up with your comfort zone. I'm Jack Bedicalian, the master of humorous transformation, and on this episode, we are going to ghost our excuses like that one clingy situationship from 2017. If your excuses had feelings, at the end of this episode, they would be heartbroken. Make no mistake, you've been loyal to them, you've defended them, you've cherished them like a warm blanket on a cold procrastination day. But here's the truth, and I'm sure many of you have already started to see this or realize this. They've been lying to you. So on this episode, we're going to show them the door. That whisper, that whisper that always says, let's start tomorrow. That comfort zone, our comfort zone that just has been doing such a great job at keeping us caged, at letting us believe that mediocrity is better than something else. Well, after this episode, we are going to give them their 4%. We're going to send them packing because they're about to be unemployed. So let's start with the classic excuses that we all use, like as if we're getting paid for them. The excuses that we're all used to, the I don't have time, or I'm just not ready, or one of my favorites, I work better under pressure excuses. Let me just translate these into reality, okay? Each one of these excuses is, and you know it, is saying something else. The excuse of I don't have time, what does it really translate to? I see it as being translating to, I just haven't prioritized it, or it's not important to me. It's not part of my priority. Or the excuse of, I'm not ready. Classic one. Many of the times it's, what is it? What is the reason why? How many of you can say or actually refuse this association of, I'm not ready is really more like you saying, I'm afraid that I'm going to mess up. And then obviously the Jack one, which is, and again, everybody's different. So this actually works for me. And I have spoken about this in the past, taking what is supposed to work or has been previously has been considered something that's blocking and flipping it to make it work for you. The excuse of I work better under pressure actually works for me because I myself, and everybody's different, but I myself, I actually need that drama of a deadline to feel alive. But regardless, excuses, reality, let's, call a spade a spade. You're not short on time. You're spending it in places that are more important or that have maybe been considered more normalized, part of that comfort zone. You don't need that full readiness checklist to begin. You just need to start with what you know. And mini story from myself. First off, I can go back to 18 years old. 18 years old, believe this. I actually cried on my 18th birthday. Why? Because at 18 years old, I had set myself expectations, and this is the truth. Expectations without even taking the time to define what was or what would actually meet that expectations. I was an 18-year-old guy. Now, everybody, different ages, different maturity levels, but me at 18 years old, I cried on that birthday because I wanted to be a successful business owner. Like I said, what did that even look like? At that age, I couldn't explain it. What a waste of my own time. But something I learned from and something that I'm using to help with those of us who are on different paths in our journey. That being said, 18 years old aside, when I first was thinking about launching my coaching business, not the many other endeavors that I tried, I found myself also saying, I need more experience, or am I ready yet? Going through that pattern, that uncertainty. And the irony in all of this is, while I'm going through this, I'm watching people with less knowledge, with half the charm, and, using tools, we're going to say modern, a Canva account, right, to build these brands. Meanwhile, what am I doing? I'm saying to myself, I need more experience. I might need more certifications. I need more courage. Well, I'll tell you this. The day I stopped, the day I intercepted these excuses, the day I challenged my excuses, is the day that I started moving forward. And the day that I told myself that I don't need permission, because to a certain extent, some of us feel like what we're hiding behind is or requires us permission to move forward. So the day I removed those blockages and the day I rewrote that narrative to what made sense for me is the day I started moving forward. So if those were, the obvious excuses, let's talk about those disguised ones, the ones that are in designer clothes, the perfectionism excuse, the reasons or the ideas, the sales pitch, if you will, that has also contributed in our stagnation. Perfectionism is what? What is it, really? Perfectionism, in my opinion, it's just another way to justify procrastination. And I've said this before, but we're going to call it a fancy procrastination. It pretends or it sells itself as being something that's productive. And what is it really doing? It's fueling those limiting beliefs of, I'm not ready yet, or am I really ready? And then we fall into that pattern of, well, maybe I should just tweak a few more things, or I'm almost there. Sound familiar? Perfectionism isn't precision. It's sabotage. It's sabotage while making you think it's protection. It's keeping you from starting. And newsflash, waiting until you're ready, it's just fear in a tailored suit. That perfect plan, the perfect plan that you're obsessing over is nothing but a delay tactic. And some of you are going to disagree with what I'm telling you. To those of you who disagree with what I'm telling you, I ask you this. Where are you today? Are you moving ahead? Are you moving forward? Are you where you expected yourself to be? Think about those questions and then come back to me. Let me give you a nugget here. Not a chicken nugget, because those are mine. I'll give you a coaching nugget. Try or rather, not even try, would you consider adopting or changing your rules of engagement, if you will? Would you be open to the idea of adopting an 80% rule? Now, bear with me here. 80%, what am I saying? 80% where it comes to your objectives. Would you be open to trying to follow this approach of, if I'm 80% ready, then it's go time? For some of you, that's actually gonna really bother you. But again, just take a moment here. Where you are, if you are in that perfectionism requirement, would you be open to, and let me preface this. If you are in a perfectionism state, is it safe for me to say, or is it safe for us to agree that you are not moving ahead? You're standing still. And if you are standing still, then what does it really hurt to try to adopt this 80% rule? Would you be interested in just trying it? Just saying, well, if I'm 80%, then I'm ready to go. And when I say it, I'm ready to go, or it's go time, I'm not saying that you will accept 80% as being the final result. What I'm saying is allowing yourself to move forward with the understanding that you would be willing and aware that as you move forward, you can refine what you want or refine your objective. And when you think about it, just compare the two. Perfectionism, I'm not even at the starting gate. 80%, I may be, and I'm going to use cars, I'm a guy, I may be, driving a car on 3 wheels, but the 4th wheel will come. I'm still moving forward. Might not be the way I wanted it. Though might not be the way perfectionism would dictate it to look like. But again, look behind you. If you're taking the 80% rule, look behind you. Where's perfectionism? It's still not at the gate. They still haven't even moved forward. So consider that. Because, and I'll come back to what I said, the running of patterns, these loops, these habits that we allow ourselves to fall into. When we develop habits, of course, are going to dictate the direction or lack thereof of what we're doing. Habits can be a problem. Habits can actually even become very dangerous. And the habit that we are very familiar with is self-sabotage. I've spoken about this before. What is self-sabotage? And how does it work? Again, think about that comfort zone. What is self-sabotage? What is it doing? It's secretly rooting against you, making you think that it's on your side, but it is secretly rooting against yourself. And you don't even realize you're doing it until you're knee deep. It could be in that the quicksand. You're in a state of inaction. It can show up so many different ways. It can, and I've seen it, I'll give you a couple of examples. You can start strong on an idea and you could be gung-ho and ready to move forward. And then all of a sudden, why or how did this happen? You just taper off. You don't even taper off. If I can say it this way, you actually ghost your goal. You ghost your objective. What about, I've seen this one too, creating chaos right before you reach a milestone, just before you're about to get where you are. There is something that happens and it's chaotic and it stops you. It almost puts you in a state of busy. And busy, but you're never really progressing. You're busy, but without anything to show for this busy. Think about it. Think about a time that you almost followed through on something. And then all of a sudden, too many things just came up. And if you think about that, ask yourself, was there a reason? Was it a coincidence that all these things came up just as I was about to reach a milestone? Or was it sabotage? So let's get cozy here with some of those excuses that we secretly love, like those bad rom-coms. The golden oldies. Let's talk golden oldies. Let's talk our inner comfort zone, those favorite hits, the I need more time, the I'll start on Monday, the I'm waiting for inspiration. We repeat these. Why? We're not repeating them because they're true. Why are we repeating them? The truth, the reality behind it, we're repeating them because they feel safe. They're familiar, low stakes, low risk. And what's inspiration? Is inspiration really a prerequisite for discipline? Monday? On Monday, what is Monday? It's just 7 letters, right? It's a lie we tell ourselves to delay. And to delay what in reality? We're delaying discomfort. We're delaying what we are afraid to do, what we've allowed ourselves to be influenced to stay away from. We want to stay in that familiar. And if you think about it, these excuses that we're talking about, these familiar, again, the golden oldies. Think about it. What if I told you that these excuses, coming back to what I was saying before, what if I told you, and more so, does it make sense when I tell you that these excuses are doing nothing more than creating this stress loop that you keep reliving? Think about that for a second. We'll talk about a cycle, this procrastination panic cycle. The reason why we're in this stress loop, the reason why we keep reliving the same thing over and over. And what's the procrastination panic cycle? We're going to call it the PPC because procrastination panic cycle, I'm going to be lisping or slurring. At some point, I'll probably drool. So how does the PPC work? No, it's not the BBC. All of a sudden, I feel like I should be saying this with a British accent, but I'm going to screw it up. So I'll just, in honor of those who are British, who I love, who know me, I'm just going to say this one word, wanker. and we'll leave it at that. So let's talk PPC. And how does it work? So here's how it works. What do you do first? You delay. You tell yourself there's still more time. And then what happens? Time runs out. Time is almost over. What do? What do we all do? You panic. You hustle. You're hustling through. Your heart's racing. You might have some questionable hygiene. You've got that one working brain cell. You're trying to get it all done. And guess what? In some, maybe even most cases, you pull it off just enough to repeat the same cycle next time. Does this sound familiar? Imagine you've gone through this whole thing and, it comes back to, like I said, I've told you, or I've allowed myself to believe, but I've used it to my favor. I work better under pressure. But if you think about that, this isn't working better. Well, it is, excuse me. It is working better under pressure, but it is a result of procrastination. So what have you done with this PPC? You have trained your brain. You have created this loop. You've trained your brain where you associate productivity with panic. It's exhausting, right? And more so, it's optional. You're the one who decides whether or not you want that to happen. So what if we were to reframe it? What if we start it before we're ready? And what if we treat it starting as one of our success metrics? Let's get practical about that with some strategies that could, help us move that needle. Again, perfection, it's perfect. Guess what? You're being perfect at doing nothing. Or let's start moving forward. Let's adopt that 80% rule. Let's at least be open to seeing how it could work for us. And let's talk some strategies for how to reframe, how we can break up with excuses. What if, again, we replace, and we've said it before, what if I don't have time is replaced with I haven't made it my priority yet, but we adopt that 80% rule? Is that still good enough to get you started? Is it still good enough to say, yes, I haven't made it my priority yet, but when it becomes my priority, I've already moved the needle? Then let's talk flipping those fears, flipping, and using to our advantage. What do? We're saying things like, again, I'm not ready yet, which really loosely translates to what? It translates to what if I fail? Flip it. Understand it, accept it, acknowledge it, and say, yes, I'm concerned about what if I fail. But flip that fear and turn it into something different of, you've heard this all the time, what if I never try? What's worse? If you fail or if you never try? Because in reality, and again, unless you are comfortable, and comfort zone's been doing a fabulous job at keeping you in this state of mediocrity, if you're fine with that, then great. But if you're not that person, if you're the person who wants to move forward, if you're the person who wants to keep moving that needle, if you're the person who wants to challenge themselves and really truly see how far they can get, then you're ready, and you'd probably be very happy to challenge the what if I fail. Visualize future you. Take a moment. Maybe this is something that you can do as well. Future me really doesn't like present me because present me has too much center fat. But future you, visualize future you, and ask yourself the question, is future you proud of this moment? Or is future you rolling their eyes at you? Okay, so let's have a little challenge for those of you who've been journaling, who've been doing and following the challenges. Keep it up. Great stuff. I love the feedback. And you know, I'm always going to answer. I love the initiative you're taking. Let's just have a small one here. I'm going to challenge you to pick an excuse, you know, that one excuse that you use regularly. I want you to write it down, and I want you to ask yourself, what truth is that one excuse preventing you or protecting you from facing? Could be any excuse. I don't have time. That's the excuse. Now, if I don't have time is the excuse that you choose, ask yourself the question, what truth is it protecting me from facing? And let's add just a little layer here. Let's time box it. Set a 15-minute timer and start it. Use those 15 minutes to give yourself the answer, to get the answer to the question of what the truth is protecting you from. Okay, so once you're done with the challenge of the week, if you're looking for some extra bonus work or something fun to do, well, here's something fun. You can always write a goodbye letter. Just pick that number one excuse, and we're not even going to say goodbye. Break up with it. Tell it where to go. Example, dear perfectionism, we had a good run, but you are one crazy ass biatch. You might have made me feel safe or pretended to make me feel safe, but you made me small, and I'm moving on. I'm sick of it. I would prefer to live a messy, progress-filled life, progress-filled life, as opposed to being in this bubble that you have set up for me. And it could sound silly, but believe it or not, it's symbolic. It's a symbolic breakup, and it could help mark the beginning of another chapter for you. And speaking of another chapter, let's have a look at, or let's take a moment to think about life on the other side. Think about what it could feel like beyond your excuses, once you've gotten past. Imagine this. Imagine what life would look like when you start showing up consistently, when you're following through, not perfectly, but persistently, when instead of negotiating with your excuses or your limitations, you actually start collaborating. When you imagine that, when you think about it, what opens up? Could you imagine what opens up when excuses are no longer the co-pilot, when excuses are no longer the ones who get to write your story, when you're actually writing your story? I don't know about you, but life on that side is a life that I'm so grateful to have discovered. And it's something that I will continue to want and continue to follow. It's progress, it's peace, it's pride, it's me being me. Okay, we're going to bring it home. We talked about many things. We talked about those classic excuses that we've disguised as facts. We've talked about how we've allowed perfectionism to be a reason to hold us back, when in reality, what it's doing is just pretending to help. We've talked about self-sabotage and the sneaky habits, or the examples of some of those sneaky habits. We talked about the procrastination panic cycle, or the PPC. And I've shared some of those coaching strategies that I'm hoping will help you break free and help literally rewrite your own narratives. And as far as some of the other tips that I shared with you with the journal prompt or the challenge, for those of you who are open to giving this a shot, I would love to hear your feedback on how adopting the 80% is enough approach helped you, if it helped you. Remember, the adopting the 80% is enough approach is there for one reason and one reason only. It's help to get your needle moving forward. So I would love to hear some feedback on that. So again, if the episode called you out with love, of course, share it with someone else who needs that same nudge. Your excuses, hey, they're going to be sad to see you go, but guess what? Your future self is probably already popping champagne and looking at you today and saying, man, am I happy that I did this. If you want more transformation and laughter, in the coming weeks, I'll be coming out with a new workshop going to be called The Real Glow Up, where we laugh, cry, evolve. It's where we're going to go deeper with all the real stuff. No fluff, just breakthroughs, maybe a few well-timed fart jokes. But until that comes out, let me just give you a little preview of what's coming up in our next episode. So our next episode, what we'll be talking about is taking ourselves from overthinking to action. We're going to talk about how to quiet that inner critic. We're going to dive into the mental spirit that stalls your progress and how to turn the volume down on that inner critic so you can finally move forward with clarity and confidence.
'Cause Jack is the master of humorous transformation, and here are the lyrics for